Hello everybody, we are live Sunday morning 10:30 as usual. Let yourself be known if you are in the feed. Am I in the shot? Yeah, there we go. So we are talking as ever this weekend's championship action. Big weekend, two big games, obviously one massive game up at the top there at Ellen Road. A top six clash as well between West Brom and Borough, and then Rotherham and Millwall duking it out down the bottom. But where else do we start? We have to start at Ellen Road, and I was at the game, so check out my match review of that. That's already up on the channel. Massive win for Norwich. Huge atmosphere at Leeds, but Vrancic kills that atmosphere on 5 minutes, puts the free kick in. Look, I was sitting side on from this. It does take a deflection. It does just give it a little bit more flight. A lot of people have been arguing in the YouTube comments on my video that it was going in anyway. That may be the case. Leeds push on. Didn't create that many good chances, and then killer goal. Vrancic shot deflected, wide it goes, and Pukki puts it in for the second. Leeds absolutely outclassed, says John. Norwich did a great job in the second half. I likened it to, remember the West Germany team in the World Cup in 1990, just seeing that game out, technical players, but they knew how to stop that game going. No jumper today, Stuart. I'm going to go to work after this. Norwich put a third goal in, just picked them off at the end. Vrancic puts another one in through Casilla. Bamford, nice to see him back if you're a Leeds fan. He gets the consolation from the corner at the end. But so yeah, 18th goal of the season for Pukki as well. Huge statement for Norwich. Mario always scores when Ben goes. Yeah, he does. He scored at Reading as well, didn't he? Hey, am I Vrancic's lucky charm? For my sins, I'm watching Norwich play Ipswich next week. So yeah, let's see if Mr. Vrancic scores again. Yeah, big statement from Norwich. I'd said for ages, if they can be around it by the time they get this run over of difficult games, then they've got a real chance. They're top of the league. Now, okay, they're only top on goal difference at the moment, but you know, my point was, you know, would they be coming from fourth place or third place in and chasing? No, top of the league. So brilliant stuff from Norwich. I think they just shell-shocked Leeds, and their plan went absolutely superb. Pukki, 18 goals, 15 with one touch, 3 scored with one. Yeah, he's a great finisher. Pukki. Leeds couldn't get a good view of Norwich's training ground. Norwich to win the league, says Dan. John says Norwich fixtures look good for the next 5. Yeah, only Bristol City. You know, Bristol City is now a difficult game. We'll talk about them in a minute. Now they're up into the top 6. But brilliant from Norwich, and they just continue to surprise. I think even their own fans were going there. I spoke to Jack Reeve yesterday. I'll be on Talk Norwich City on Monday. That's coming out, and he was like, "Well, look, I'll take a draw." But you know, 3-0 up, 75 minutes or whatever it was. Leeds 4 defeats in 6. Look, they're still top. Not top. They're still joint on points with top Leeds. I spy with my little eye a Leeds collapse. Is it happening? We'll see. What I will say for Leeds is, on another day, Norwich did have a little bit of luck. Everything went their way in the first half in respect of chances, but they did play the game really well. I suspect if one of those Leeds chances goes in 15 to 20 minutes, the game's looking very different. But I think Leeds will come good again. Bamford was back yesterday. Douglas came back in yesterday. Berardi maybe soon. Brown maybe soon. Interesting that Pablo Hernandez off at half time. I think Leeds will come again. We will see. The other team challenging up there. One quick to mention though, in Leeds' next 6 games, they've got Borough, West Brom and Bristol City. Record-breaking away run, 13 away games unbeaten in the league. In Norwich, they just look perfectly set up to be away from home. It's like Leeds are the perfect team for Norwich to play, aren't they? Because you know they'll come at you and you can sit and pick them off with those quick counter attacks. Right, let's talk Sheffield United. They won 2-0 at home to Bolton. They were second. They did put the pressure on before this game. Norwich did drop down to 3rd place. Blades right in the mix at the moment. Optimistic about the Villa game. Tony, I will be at the Villa game on Friday night. Jamie, surely Sheffield United have the best strike force in the league. I think Gale and Rodriguez also have 30, but in terms of them working as a pair, quite possibly. Although you know about Sheffield United, it's not about the strike force, it's about those wing backs getting forward, everybody supporting, crowding from the edges of the box to create the chances. If those two played in a different team, would they score less goals? Probably. If Gale and Rodriguez played for Sheffield United, would they score more goals? Interesting. You know, let me know in the feed down the side there. So yes, as mentioned, McGoldrick and Sharp both score. 11 for McGoldrick, 19 for Sharp in the league. So yes, 30 between them. Brilliant stuff from that front two. Possibly looks like Chris Wilder's got quite a good little thing going here now. So for the easier games, he can start Duffy and McGoldrick. And like the difficult away game at Norwich last week, Che and Jutkovic for best partnership. We'll talk about the Birmingham guys as well in terms of working together there as well. But as I was saying about Wilder, he can soften teams up maybe with Dowell and Medine in the more difficult games and then bring Duffy and McGoldrick in. Certainly option. Scott Hogan on the bench yesterday, not even used. I assume he'll be embargoed from playing against Villa. It would be rather ridiculous if they hadn't put that in the loan agreement there. So, good stuff from Sheffield United. Talk about West Brom in a minute, but is it going to become a 3-team chase for these top 2 places? We shall find out. Bolton lose and all the 4 teams above them take a point or more. In fact, we can get the win. Some odd rumours about a Mark Warburton-fronted consortium with Warburton not being the manager, being some kind of director or something. So I don't know what's what's happening with that, if there's anything that at all, or that's a load of bollocks. We'll find out as that goes on. Moving on, brilliant narrative here. West Brom 2, Borough 3 at the Hawthorns. Tony Pulis goes back to the Hawthorns. Big win for Borough, uncharacteristic win as well. They score 3 goals and they come from behind. Of all the teams you wouldn't expect to do that type of win, that would be Borough. Saville steals a goal kick and goes through to score the opener. Rodriguez and Gale, as we've mentioned. They join McGoldrick and Sharp on 30, both scoring. And then Assombalonga, this looked like the old Assombalonga. Absolute beast mode from him. 2 cracking goals, real pace and power. John says Pulis apparently made a few tactical attacking subs that changed the game. I don't believe it. Amazing. So Pulis gets the win. Assombalonga only came on the 65-minute. Baggy's mistake cost us the win. Stephen says that will give us confidence for the Leeds game. Yeah, Leeds game coming up there. Only positives about Borough doing well is they'll get promoted. So awful away day is out the way. It's a long way up to the Borough, isn't it, from anywhere pretty much. West Brom, crazy busy February having come up, a disappointing defeat. I had this pegged as a good weekend for West Brom. Get the win here. One of Norwich and Leeds dropping points and squeeze that all up, but it hasn't happened. Bet Brit doesn't start against Leeds. We'll talk about Derby in a minute. So yeah, lots of games coming up for West Brom. Sink or swim time for Darren Moore, isn't it? They're either going to go on a winning run or they're going to settle into, presumably, I mean, worst case going to be a playoff place, you would have thought, but, you know, some of the calibre of players they've got there, they should be, you know, challenging for that top two. Also, this looks a lot like a playoff game possibly going ahead. We get points out of Leeds and Sheffield United. You never know automatic, said Bradley from a Borough point of view. That was the first time Borough scored 3 goals in the league since Sheffield United game at the start of the season. Wow. Definitely not the most prolific. Okay, team that are prolific. Bristol City. Wow, they've done it. We've been watching them week after week after week going on this run. They are in the top 6 now. Oliver said Bristol City would get playoffs 2 or 3 months ago. It's still a long way to go, Oliver, but season stops now. You are right. Bristol City in the playoffs on goal difference, aren't they? If Bristol City make the playoffs, that will highlight how poor the league is this season. That is interesting. You know, you go on a run and away you go and you're in the playoffs. Outstanding run though, it has been, only goal difference, but 5th straight win, top of the form table. Vyman, great header by Vyman, don't know how he quite managed to put that one in. O'Dowda gets the second one. When Lee Johnson came to Ipswich in November, it was pretty much, the 4 straight defeats, his time's running out. If he loses here, you know, trouble, all of that stuff. Since then, 9 wins and 4 draws in 13 games. 7 straight victories in all competitions. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from Johnson. We assume that there's never a losing streak too far away, but they're in the playoffs and they're looking good. Dan, Bristol City are not a bad side. Well, they're looking a very good side at the moment. Swansea lose for the first time in a while. I think 7 games possibly, could be wrong about that. Bigger story though, Hugh Jenkins resigns. Loads of protests from the Swansea fans yesterday. Jenkins had been there since 2002, seen all of the best times at Swansea. Horrible transfer window. 3 players go out, and Fur and James could have also gone out. No players come in, and Jenkins leaves, and the quote is, the day-to-day running of the club has to change. Looks like he just wanted out and he'd had enough. So we'll see what happens with the Swans now. They are down to 13th, and you'd worry a little bit. I mean, Bonnie Montero weren't in the team anyway, but you just worry about, it was the guy who went to Villa, help me out, Carroll. You just worry about them dropping off a little bit now into the bottom half. Preston 0, Derby 0. I was at this game on Friday night. Check out my review. Don't worry, the review's worth watching. 0-0. We still picked out some tactical stuff and whatnot. Derby, a bit unlucky in the first half. Hit the post and the bar. Wilson twice. Neil makes a tweak at half time, and Lampard couldn't really keep up with him. I think Derby have got a few injured players. Mount wasn't around. Shambolic performance, says Dave. Interesting, Derby fan. Didn't have a right back in there. I think Wisdom hadn't trained, so Holmes was playing right back. Derby game was dreadful to hand over after 20 minutes. I enjoyed the tactical battle in the end, John, although I think Alex Neil came out on top of that. Wilson seems to carry us at times. David Seaman looks well. I'm not having that. Goodness me. You put your hair up once and you get David Seaman. Dear oh me. Yeah, so Derby have opened the door for the Chasers. 9 points in the last 7 isn't great form. But they've played all of the top 6 teams, although we have to switch that now because Bristol City are in the top 6. We need to recalculate those fixtures. Bit of a fixture pile up with the FA Cup, we shall see. Preston looked strong in the second half. Everyone was saying that Keogh is awful. I think it's mainly Derby fans that say Keogh is awful. He's one of those scapegoat type figures. I think anything goes wrong at Derby and Keogh gets the blame. Yeah, Preston looks strong. New signings bedded in. If Alex Neil tactically masterclasses you, you aren't going. I didn't say he tactically masterclassed him. I just said he won the tactical battle. Yeah, new signings in, and they'll probably come a bit stronger, although a bit of a season wasted, I think, for Preston. Birmingham 2, Forest 0. Birmingham back up to 8th. Nice win for Blues. They jumped up 4 spots. It's really crowded in the middle there. O'Neill's team selection wasn't convincing from the outset. Carvalho, Graben and Bonatini all on the bench, says Ben. He went with big Daryl Murphy up front, old Ipswich favourite there. Hotter with the opener, which means that Jutkiewicz now has got 10 goals and 10 assists. That gold standard. He must be the first in the league this year to have done that. Harvey Barnes probably would have done it if he'd hung around. I think he was on 9 and 6 or something. But poor Forest again screwed by the owners. Forest have really buggered things up, haven't they? Well, we'll see, because it did not look like a Karanka team at all. Typical long ball tactics, says John from Martin O'Neill. Adams with a late penalty. Benalouan handball on the line. Red card for him. 16 for the season for Adams. He's got to be up with sort of Pookie as one of the most valuable Championship strikers. He's only 22 as well, Adams, and he's going to get 20 goals. And he's just one of these strikers as well that when he gets the chance, hits it really early and really hard. It sounds really, really simple, but in the Championship, he's proving a little bit of a beast, and Jutkiewicz helping him out a lot up front there. So Birmingham up to 8th, although it looks like Bristol City have seemingly, they've left that chasing pack behind now. We have some nice fixtures coming up, having a tough run of games over the last 6. I'm just wondering now, though, if those top 7 are going to be away and clear, whether people like Birmingham here, Villa can bridge that gap. We shall see. Forest in 12th, O'Neill's 3rd game, as we've had mentioned in the feed. Birmingham of QPR and Bolton next. Okay, a fair comment, Matthew. You'd expect points, 3 or 4 points from those 2 games at least, wouldn't you, given Birmingham's attack. Yeah, Pele, Graben, Bonatini, Carvalho on the bench yesterday. Surely this is going to take Forest a few games to gel this. Romac, Jutkiewicz could have ended up back in a Borough shirt. Could have been so different. He would have been perfect for Pulis, wouldn't he? Villa at home coming up from Birmingham as well. Hopefully I'll get to that one, John. Yeah, really interested to see what happens with Martin O'Neill. Is this going to fly, or is this going to crash and burn? We will find out, as I keep saying. Reading 0, Villa 0. Villa not in good form at all at the moment. It's almost as if they could really do with some flamboyant attacking midfielder who may well be back at the game on Friday, which I'm going to be at. Sheffield United versus Villa. What a good game that's going to be. Be nice to see Grealish back from my point of view as a neutral. Could see Bristol City staying in 6th. Crash and burn on Martin O'Neill. Yeah, John says look like a banker away win here, but Villa not in good nick, other than Abraham, who really does a good job of carrying that team in Grealish's absence. Did anybody see Oliveira's face after what Mings did to him? Yeah. Look, I know Oliveira gave the Ipswich fans the wind up, but man, nobody likes to see that huge gash out of his face. Mings on his debut for Villa actually played centre back, not left back. So Smith obviously wants him to be some kind of ball playing centre back. Mings should be banned for the rest of the season. Mings' disgrace should be banned, not the first time. I haven't seen this, so I'm not Arsene Wenger and you. I haven't seen that at all. So I'm pleading the 5th, not because he's an ex-Ipswich player. I genuinely haven't seen that. I'd call him out if I thought it was a deliberate kick in the face. So Villa still in those teams bunched up between 8th and 13th, but just not functioning so well at all, Villa at the moment. Reading, they've picked up 2 points, which in the context of trying to get away from Ipswich and Bolton is pretty good, because Ipswich and Bolton are so terrible. But, Liam, send that one again. That sounded like a good Villa comment there. Sorry, I missed that. yeah, killer that late goal at Bolton. Reading would have been out of the bottom three. And I think when you look at those bottom four teams, a lot of people now are making Reading favourite to survive out of Ipswich, Bolton, Rotherham and Reading. Oliveira in, American centre half in as well, whose name I have forgotten. So we'll see if Reading can push on. Hull 2, Stoke 0. Those brilliant front guys for Hull doing it again. Bowen with the free kick. Vokes then misses a pen on debut for Stoke. Not good from Vokes. They went down the middle. Marshall saves with his left foot. Grzycki, such a weird player, Grzycki. He looks absolutely brilliant sometimes and totally disinterested other. He looks very interested for the past sort of 20 games or so. He scores again. So Hull, they'd drawn and lost their previous two, and you know the question on here in the feed was always, well, are they now going to drop down the table? I think they should be steady mid-table, possibly finishing in the top half now. Although to expect anything like the run they went on would be I think a bit fanciful. Campbell, Grzycki and Bowen though really good front three with Irvine supporting there. Looked really good. Hull, and a great job by Atkins to pull them out. How aren't Stoke in the top six with their squad? Come back at me with general questions at the end, Paul, and we'll take that on the top two. Stoke squad seems really unbalanced. Interesting summer for them. Not sure about the cup. We'll have a think about that on Tuesday. Romac. Nathan Jones, I believe, correct me in the feed if I got this wrong, he's lost 3 out of 4 as Stoke manager in the league, and also had that mass collapse against Shrewsbury in the cup. So not a good start for Jones. Not really sure that Sam Vokes is better than Benny Kofobi either, but there you go. And I'm sure all Derby, Birmingham and Stoke fans saw Gary Rowett snaking into the Sky coverage on Friday night, waving his "I'm available" flag at all the Championship clubs. There we go, good old Gary. I wonder if he was wearing his Converse. Brentford 5, Blackburn 2. Cedric's all good. He's actually in shot at the moment, Stephen O, and then he's just gone. He's all good. Insane game at Griffin Park here. Rovers fly into a 2-0 lead. Dak on 2, Graham on 7. And we were talking about the strike partnerships. Sharp and McGoldrick with 30. Jutkovic and Adams we spoke about as well. Gale and Rodriguez with 30. 21 now for Dak and Graham. They're a little bit different than the other ones that Graham plays a bit behind, but still excellent considering that's a League One partnership from last season. Ben Rama gets one back fairly quickly. Then Brentford go crazy in the second half. 2 for Watkins. Mopai, someone's tweeted me the Mings thing. Thank you. I'll take a look at that. Why doesn't it surprise me if former Borough players do well at other rival clubs? Mopai 17 for the season. Canos gets one back. One right at the end for the 5-2. Great comeback from Brentford, not only in this game, but in the season, really. They really had that terrible run, didn't they? And Thomas Franks now, he's tweaked the system a little bit and they're looking good, and cashed in as well on Chris Mepham and still have seemingly enough strength to play 3 centre backs. If you didn't see, I was at the Brentford game at Barnet, which was absolutely brilliant, so check out my review. Yeah, I will watch maybe I'll watch it during the feed when we do the questions at the end. Blackburn been on a great one, 4 straight wins, dropped back to 11th. They never seem to be too far away. Brentford will be back to square one when they sell the best players in the summer. Possibly, you wonder with Watkins and Mopai now, they are the big assets. Only 6 points between 8th and 18th now, yeah, and even tighter between like 8th and I think it's like 40, 41 or something. I need to check my table. Big win for Wigan. Wigan 2, QPR 1. Windass chases through, gets the opener. New signing Leon Clark. He is a nuisance, that bloke. Whenever I see him play, I'm like, well, I wouldn't like to defend against that guy. Brentford will reinvest well. They do have a habit of doing that, says JG. So yeah, 2-0 there. Samuel gets one back, and then Leisner smashes the bar for QPR at 2-1. Wigan take the 3 points, and down the bottom there, so Wigan have won 2 of their last 4. That is so much superior to all those bottom 4 that will be enough. If you can always look on who scored at those last 6 games, if there's 2 wins in those last 6 games, you're going to be way above Ipswich and Bolton chasing, and then Reading and Rotherham possibly duking it out there. So good little 4 games for Wigan there. They're 7 points clear of Reading as it stands. They look pretty safe, and really they solidify this idea I've got that it's just 4 from 3 to go down now. Sorry, 3 from 4. QPR look like they're undoing their good work this year. He looks a great striker until he gets a contract, says Liam, possibly Sheffield United or Sheffield Wednesday fan. Yeah, 3 defeats on the trot for Rangers, 5 without a win. They got themselves over Christmas right into that chasing pack outside the playoffs. So, yeah, a bit disappointing from McLaren. Ipswich 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Obviously, I was up north doing Championship stuff yesterday. Got lots of stick for that, for not being at the Ipswich game, but I've got to look after my channel from time to time, and there was other work needed doing. Ipswich, Chambers and Collins both get knocks in training, so it's Nsiala and Pennington playing at centre halves, which weakened Ipswich a little bit at the back there. It looked like, and from what I've been told, they were clinging on, and Wednesday Reach missing a sitter, and Forestieri having a few decent chances. Ipswich coming on a little bit towards the end, but then the sucker punch right at the end. I know a lot of Ipswich fans whining about the referee in the build-up. That will all be discussed on the Blue Monday podcast tonight, if you're interested. Lucas João, who has now scored 4 goals in his last 3 games against Ipswich, with the late winner there. A lot of publicity around Steve Bruce this week. He wins on his debut. Check out my video on what those rather silly BBC pundits said about him, Ruud Gullit and Danny Murphy. So I think a lot of people were quite pleased to see Steve Bruce win after those comments, and he is back. Have Ipswich accepted relegation, or still thinking miracles around the corner? Yeah. Kind of starting to accept it now. Bottom 3 are sorted surely. Sorry, I get the gist of that comment. MJH saying that there. So Wednesday up in 16th, 2 straight wins from them, and I think Wednesday will be looking at a big Sheffield derby going start of March possibly, and hopefully they can derail Sheffield United's push. I think that would be the big game they're looking at for the rest of the season. Last one, Millwall 0, Rotherham 0, 20th versus 21st. All square. I suppose Millwall could have really done with taking the 3 points and putting the gap in, but Angelo says Gregory missed an open goal in the 95th minute. Yeah, I did see that one right at the end there. I think for Millwall, as long as they didn't have a 3-point swing against them, I think they're far enough away. I know that Wigan went above them yesterday, but it was just vital they didn't lose that one, and they'll move on. I just wonder whether they get distracted a bit by their cup run, Millwall, but they just look far enough away. And the thing with Millwall as well, with their ability to score out of nowhere from a set play or whatever, is probably going to help them out. Right, let's have a look at some of the questions. Always put, always put the shout out for questions before we go live on this one, and we've got lots of them as well. Ben says disappointing result for Forest. O'Neill can't seem to get the team. Can you see playoff prospects for us? Ben, unless Forest sort out in the next 3 games, no, I can't. Although they do play Derby, don't they? February 25th. So that's a chance to take 3 points out of them. But unless he gets it sorted pretty quickly, no. KB, if Ipswich lose against Norwich in the next game, do you think Lambert will get sacked? If not, can you give me a reason why you'd want to keep him after such a poor run? I don't think sacking him will do any good, KB. I think the reason why you wouldn't sack him is maybe the state they're in has caused the run, and maybe the state they're in is not his fault, and he's picking it up and trying to sort it out. Who's the worst team to watch in the Championship in terms of excitement levels? Oh dear, that's a loaded question, isn't it? Who do I want to throw under the bus? Look, Rotherham they cut their cloth accordingly and are maybe a bit more defensive than some of the other teams, but you don't really blame them for doing that. Reading, Borough and Bolton, surely. Reading are crap to watch. There you go. I'll let the feed answer that one. That said, with Rotherham, Ipswich clinging on against Rotherham for a 1-0 win was actually quite exciting. Bolton, says Jamie as well. Are you writing any more Championship songs, says Harry? Yeah, we'll try and do one at some point. They just take ages to figure out. City Ground, Shelfside. Yeah, we've spoken about Carvalho and Graben and Bonatini on the bench. Charlie, these new players coming in from January transfer, and they pretty much only go to clubs that pay the most wages. Means to Villa, they don't look at the club's current form, etc. Possibly, Charlie. I think sometimes it's just a short-term fix for the players, and they just want some football. And frankly, I don't think they really care where they go, as as long as it's not going to be a terrible situation for them. Simon says, monumental win for Norwich yesterday. Leeds outplayed on form. Norwich and Sheffield United for automatic promotion. Leeds headed to playoff. It's a difficult one, really difficult one to call that. I don't see any of them really having a disastrous run, Leeds, Norwich or Sheffield United. So I think they're really going to be duking it out. Interesting to see what happens at Leeds, because you can always come back at me with 4 defeats in 6. Yeah, that is not a good run. I just remember watching them against Derby a few weeks ago after the Spygate thing, and they were absolutely brilliant. I saw them at Villa and they were absolutely brilliant. So they've definitely got it in them. All 3 of those teams up there can be really, really good, and also West Brom can be really, really good if Darren Moore can sort them out. And as Jacob has just pointed out in the feed, Leeds going to Borough next, so interesting. Felix, can't see Leeds getting top 2. Some fierce competition. Realistic top 2, yeah. Most clinical striker in the Championship. Clinical. So that means you have to check the XG for that. It's probably Timu Pukki, I would have thought, on the XG. Doesn't seem to have that many chances to score. Like I say, I love Adams. I love the power of Adams finishing. Obviously, Sharp is a goal machine. I think Mopai takes quite a lot of chances to score and gets quite a lot of chances. So it is probably Pukki. Dylan, will you ever go to Premier League games to do reviews? Dylan, I'm really sorry, and everyone will hear, but no, I won't ever do Premier League. I'm a Championship guy. There's enough. Hi Ben, what's happened to Aston Villa? Well, let's do cause and effect and say it's all down to Jack Grealish not being there, and then if he comes back and they're still not winning, I'll change my mind on that. Overall opinion on Blackburn Rovers this season, what a turnaround. From David, big thumbs up on Blackburn. Excellent work from Mowbray. He's got to hope that the Premier League teams think that Dak's not quite good enough for the Premier League, but too good for the Championship, and keep hold of them. But yeah, brilliant from Blackburn, great stuff. Thoughts on Derby County not making the playoffs? I would have thought West Brom aren't dropping out and Middlesbrough aren't dropping out, so it's probably between Bristol City and Derby. Oh, Johnson has got more experience than Lampard, but surely with those attacking players, Lampard should get in there. Pass. I'll plead the fifth on that, but it's possible that Derby don't make the playoffs. Best under-20 player in the Championship is probably on performance. I've seen the Wigan right back. What's the Wigan right back called? The one on loan from Chelsea. Reece James, maybe Max Aarons for Norwich. Bolton have just got a 17-year-old in the team as well. Give me some names for under 20 players. Mason Mount's obviously very good. Is Buendia under 20, Oliver? Jack Clark as well, fantastic. Yeah, Max Aarons. Yeah, some really, really good under 20 players there. Dave says if we can't finish above Bristol City, we don't deserve top 6. Norwich current run, 15 wins, 8 draws, 2 defeats, back to the top. Who can stop them now? Well, the answer to that, who can stop them now, is Leeds and Sheffield United and West Brom if they have a run like they had at the start of the season. Charlie Lakin, says Matthew as well, for the under-20 player. Whether they will stop them or not is a different matter. Probably the thing with Norwich now is the only people who can stop Norwich are Norwich and maybe Pukki getting injured. You'd imagine if Rhodes had been up front for Norwich all season, he would have scored quite a lot less than Pukki, but just an opinion. Thoughts on Sheffield Wednesday game for Ipswich? Yeah, I think we've done that. Is the playoff hope over for Villa? Yeah, I think it is, Jay. Do you think Mings will get retrospective punishment for the stamp? He's got a history of doing it against Ibra. Again, I haven't seen that. If I can really quickly open up my Twitter, I will have a look at Mings right now. Has anybody tweeted it to me? Let's have a look. Right, I'm watching it right now. He's gone in for a tackle. It's gone slow motion. Ow! Oh my God. That's a really, really difficult one. And to be honest, oh God, blood everywhere. Nobody knows, do they? Is the answer to that. Only Tyrone Mings knows whether he did that on purpose. If he did, that is absolutely horrible. Pukki had injury October to November, 105. Yeah, fair comment. Pressure's on now, though, isn't it? Pressure wasn't necessarily on then. Let's do some questions here. Will Jack Clark start next week? Do you think he did give Lewis a little bit of a run in that game yesterday? If Ipswich, there was a question there, so possibly, yeah. Mings knew what he was doing. Look, no one can come on here and say, unless you're a mind reader and you have telepathic powers, no one can say that Mings knew what he was doing. We just don't know. Unless he admits that, then you just can't say that. Borough Leeds next week, kicking off at 1. That will be an interesting one to look at. Yeah, interesting to see if Bielsa goes a bit ape this week and changes a lot of the teams. I have telepathic powers, says Jacob. Then if you have telepathic powers, Jacob, you probably know that I'm about to stop the feed here. Mings still salty about being ripped apart by Redmond. God, got a long memory, Oliver, haven't you? Right, thank you everybody for watching. Really good numbers on the feed, really good contributions. As always, such a good bunch of people commenting on here. Thank you very much for watching. Blue Monday podcast tonight. I am not actually on it, but it will still be a great show with Dave and Statman and Mikey. When am I gonna be back? We're at Villa, Sheffield United on Friday night, and then East Anglian Derby on Sunday. God, I'm going to be on the Talk Norwich City channel. That will come out on Monday with Jack. We've already filmed that. Really good conversation. A lot about Paul Lambert, a lot about the policing of that game. So interesting stuff. Gets quite amped up in the middle there. Pukki is coming for you, KB. Yes, we know it's not something we're looking forward to. So see you during the week. If there's any big stories, we'll do something during the week reaction. So thank you everybody. Follow me on Twitter. Comment, subscribe. Blurdy blur, and we will see you very